That is a wax model of the Witcher pendant, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made it. Well, not this one, a much bigger one. Check it out. I'll begin by making the model in 3D. I'm going to be using a program called Blender, just because it's easiest for me to work in it. I start by importing some reference photos. The top view there is a model from CD Projekt Red that made the video game. I believe that is the model toy that came with some of the special edition versions of the game. The side view is from a random model I found online. I just wanted some variations in my reference photos. I did want to make this model a little bit of my own. I didn't want to copy it one for one. I hadn't worked in Blender in a while at this point, so I was just going and getting used to it again. Some of you 3D vets out there might be seeing some of the errors I'm making, but in reality, I don't care. One of the things I want to point out is I wanted to make this model as flat as possible, so I didn't want anything pointing out the back, such as the ears. I didn't want them going down below, as you can see in the side view there. One of the reasons for that is that I just wanted the pendant to hang flat. I didn't want anything extruding out, any possibility of it breaking. The model is going to be pretty sharp and have a lot of small parts to it. I just wanted to reduce the possibility of there being any problems in the future. Now I'll just play some music. Enjoy. One crash, and a few versions later, I had this. So as you can see, I had made the pendant in a few different parts that I'll just combine now. Again, if you've worked in 3D, this is probably the most disgusting thing you've ever seen. I just needed the model to come together, and so I can export it and then put it into a special machine that's going to cut it out in wax, and then I can finish it up and cast it. That is the process we usually take with most of the jewelry we make. I was just putting some finishing touches on it and I thought it was ready. Pretty happy with the way it turned out. It's missing its teeth, but we'll get to that later in the video. Now it's time to just put it on a USB, stick it in the laptop, and then let the machine cut it out. So surprisingly, I actually didn't get a video of the wax cutting, so I just substituted one in, but regardless, you'll see the end product and I think it turned out great. So now it was time to finish up the wax model. As I said, I thought it turned out fantastic, and I just began by filing down some of the edges, especially the back. First I wasn't sure whether I wanted it to be completely flat, but then I decided whatever, I'll just make it flat. Next, it was time to make the teeth. This is a pretty simple process. Just cut out some pieces of wax, shape them, measure them out, and then melt them onto the top and bottom of the mouth. I find this process to be very relaxing. It's kind of like those ASMR videos you see where they're cutting the soap, but not really like that at all in any way, or maybe a little bit. I don't know, but I just love doing this. It's one of my favorite steps in the whole process. And as you can see here, I'm just shaping the wax slowly. I just wanted to make sure the measurements were all accurate. So the next part was to create the stationary bail, which I would put the chain through. I did want to make it a little bit beat up and weathered, which is why I carved it out by hand, made it look a little rough, and just melted it onto the back there. I did make it a little too small at first. I then came back and made it a lot larger. I think it turned out alright, but I'll let the audience be the judge of that. I am demonstrating here why I don't always use the Dremel and everything, and that's because if you do, you'll just end up leaving bumps and all kinds of awkward, marks, and it's not completely accurate. So I cast the pendant in 925 silver, also known as sterling silver. I thought it would look best this way, especially when I tarnish it. It will just look absolutely perfect. So now it's time to saw off the gate or sprue, and that, well then. I don't know why I did that, I just cut it off, would have been a lot easier. From here on out is fairly simple. File down any imperfections, fill in any holes that were made during the casting process. As you can see, it didn't come out perfect, but that's okay. Plenty of filing and silver dust later. The pendant was almost finished. All I had to do was make way for the gems to be set in the eye sockets. That's right, we're gonna make them red. This was a simple process, just measure out the gems and make room for them. As soon as I test fitted them and they looked alright, I handed them over to the master jeweler who was gonna set them. Came back just to finish up any imperfections I saw to make it look the way I wanted it to, which was to give it a little bit of that battle-scarred, battle-torn look. And after that, it was almost finished and it was ready for the final stages, which included polishing and tarnishing the silver. The next part was to polish it. Now, this is a fairly big and complex model. I wasn't going to make it completely shiny and polished. I just needed to smooth out the surface as much as I could. And then it was off to the ultrasonic machine. Don't mind the dirtiness of it. And then it was pretty much ready. As you can see, it wasn't completely perfect, but this is pretty much what I wanted. The tarnishing process is fairly simple. You just pour some warm water, you add liver of sulfur to it, which will tarnish the silver. You leave it in for a few minutes and the silver will start to turn black. It gets really black, but that wears off with time. And I came back just to add a little bit of character to the tarnish. I didn't want it completely uniform. I didn't want it to look absolutely perfect. The total weight of the model came out to about 44.8 grams with the chain. That's pretty heavy, which I was more than happy with. And that was it. That's the finished product. I was super happy with the way it turned out. Unfortunately, I won't be able to sell these, but I have more projects lined up for future videos, so stay tuned. If you have any ideas, if you want me to make something, leave it in the comments below. Subscribe, leave a like, share. I don't know, I guess thank you for viewing, guys, and I'll see you in my next video.